Okay, good morning. This morning session is going to be a little different today for anybody who's out here, but first, give thanks to the Sangha. We are sitting this morning for the first sit actually, in the Beside Journey Home Meditation Hall. And I am very happy to be here today. This has been something that's been in preparation for a long time. And I just want to give gratitude to all the teachers that have led to this moment and all of the loving hands that have put hard work into this building and the people who occupied this space before us, bringing so much joy into here over the years for themselves. This feels like a hallowed ground already before we even stepped foot in. So, yeah. Take a few breaths together and just find your body and your mind and your spirit just seeing where you are this morning. Sit for a moment. To invite the bell. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And letting go. It's a wonderful feeling to arrive. I've taken a lot of journeys in my life. I lived for a long time with my family in a school bus, and we traveled the country and we saw a lot of mornings in new places. We would oftentimes pull into an area in the night, and we didn't really know what we were going to see in the morning. We just found a safe place to park the bus, as safe as we could, and we'd pull in. And then in the morning, it was almost like a Christmas morning. You wake up and you'd see what is happening around you. You'd see all of these new things, and it'd either be exciting or it would be time to go. But mostly, we would park in open spaces, and in the evening, we would get into the bus, and the kids would fall asleep, and we'd be in the city. And then by morning, we would have parked someplace a lot more open. And you'd wake up to the sound of the birds or the ocean or the flow of the creeks and rivers, and it was always this magical moment of new beginning. And in a lot of ways, these new beginnings are happening for us all the time, but they are not really as stark as closing your eyes in one place and waking in another. That's just where our awareness gets sort of poked. And I was thinking this morning, I've been in this room hundreds of hours in the past few months. We've done so many changes to this space, and so many people have come in through here putting in their efforts, that to call this a new beginning is a bit dismissive of the transition that it's gone through as well. But I recognize that it is a threshold. And I just want to sit with myself with the remembrance that this is continuous. Everything that happened had to happen exactly as it did to reach this moment where I am right now. So even as I'm opening my eyes into this new beginning, this new space, this new possibility in the community, I'm remembering gratitude for everything that came before. And I can't tell you how much gratitude, how easy it is to have gratitude today sitting in this space, this wonderfully imperfect space. You know, there are so many little things that aren't finished, and I think that a couple weeks ago when I sat in St. Mark's Episcopal Cathedral in Seattle to see Padre Kotuma read poetry and share space with all of us, he mentioned that this cathedral is forever unfinished. You're sitting inside, and it doesn't have the same feel as some of the humongous cathedrals I've sat in. You know, in St. Louis, for example, there's these Catholic churches that are just marvels. 150 years it took for one mosaic to be completed, and it was done over 3 generations of one family that worked on this mosaic in that time. Father to son, and of course, all of the other family participated in their energy as well. And it's this wonderful space you walk into, and it's so tended to and cared for and complete. All they need to do is do upkeep, and it'll last a long time. But when you walk into a space like St. Mark's, you walk into a place like your mother's living room, or that comfortable cafe that you would hang out in with your friends in high school that's a little bit dirty maybe. Things starting to feel the wear of time here and there, and something is always being replaced or worked on. And that kind of unfinished space is inviting to a different level of your soul. It doesn't strike you like when you walk in, it appealing to your senses. It appeals to your sensibilities. And that's how I feel when I'm in this space. I see the unfinished work, and I am so grateful for it, because it doesn't feel like it's unattainable. So I'm happy to be in this space today, and I'm happy to share this with the community here, with the Sangha, and with you out here, where I'm hoping to find a good setup for cameras and everything. We'll see what we can do, but we're going to make the best with what we have. And that's where we are. So let's have a few moments in our meditation posture just to allow for whatever subtle voices that want to arise can arise. If you're seated as I am on a pillow or cushion on the floor, you can have your legs crossed in any number of positions or stretched to the side or front in a way that invites a level of balance while being mindful of not causing harm to your body. This is not a practice of creating discomfort, even if it is a practice of inviting in the discomfort that's already there. I don't think we need to add more today. Using a small pillow underneath you can help to elevate your hips above your legs just a little bit. That helps with circulation as well as leaving the energetic flow of the nerves as they pulse this life-giving breath through the body with the blood and with these tiny electrical pulses that are just moving through us, being generated in our heart and received all over our bodies. Lengthening the spine. This helps to open the body cavity so that breath can flow in its channels without restriction. Breathing in through the nose to the bottom of the belly. I'm breathing in. I am breathing out. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. You can bring your mind back to your breath if it starts to get wrapped up in thought. But when a thought arises, don't get frustrated. It's what the brain does. The mind wants to think. But we can choose to bring those thoughts back to something stable and centered, and there's nothing more stable and centered than your breath. It moves right to the center of your being and out from the center of your being to the world from the moment you are born until the moment that you die. And as you bring your thought to the breath, also bring your feeling to the breath. Reassociate with your body. Feel the feeling of the belly as it expands when the diaphragm pulls downward, bringing in the breath. Feel the way your back begins to relax just under the shoulders as you breathe out, and the relaxation spreads upward into the neck and the head. The breath can be such a strong carrier of messages. When we focus on our breath, at first, especially if you're new to the practice, it can be a question of why. Why the breath? Why not focus on the pulse, or why not focus on the sound of the river, or whatever it may be? And the short answer is you can focus on whatever you'd like to focus on. Meditation is the practice of focusing. But the breath is particularly important because the breath is our constant connection to all of life. It is in the breath that we receive particles of everything that's ever existed. If it's been on this planet, there's molecules of it somewhere in the air, and we are bringing that in. And as we breathe out, we are breathing out the water that has removed itself from our blood. As we breathe in, we're looking for oxygen, and there is a number of gases that we're breathing in, but oxygen is the one that our blood cells can turn into life. And as our blood cells ingest that oxygen, they eliminate carbon dioxide. And that carbon dioxide comes out of the blood cell and is carried in little bits of water. And as we breathe in, the oxygen moves in, the CO2 moves out. We breathe that out, and bits of our life-giving water enter into the atmosphere, into the shared breath of the world. There's said to be molecules from the bead of sweat on the brow of the first mother in your lineage when you breathe in. Children and trees and all living beings will breathe in molecules of who you are. We are mostly water. A little bit of dirt, a little spit and vinegar, and a touch of stardust. But mostly water. So that breath is our connection to that sea of life that keeps calling us back in. So when we focus on that, our mind and our body are doing the same thing at the same time. Our mind is aware I am breathing in, and our body is breathing in. So now we are in a synced rhythm. We are in sync with ourselves. We are flowing in the same direction. No more fighting against the sensations of your body with your thoughts. No more punishing your body with your thoughts. Just gentle flow. And that's the beginning of balance, and balance is the footsteps of peace. So whether you've been meditating for one day or 100 years, you can keep coming back to the breath. And of course, it's always interesting to me that in cultures all over the world, the language of breath is most often associated with the same language of spirit. In Latin, it's spiritus is the word for breath. In the Hindi, it's prana. In Sanskrit, it's prana. Going all the way back. The teachings of the Buddha and the Pali. Breath is spirit. Breath is the life-giving force. The teachings of Jesus. Everywhere you go, everything is breathing. So if we know that we are breathing, then we are exactly where we need to be. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Is there any questions or anything to discuss in the Sangha? Anything you'd like to talk about?
Gratitude.
You want to talk about gratitude?
Yeah. My life has been not what I wanted it to be for a long time. And when I realized I could just accept my life as it is without putting judgments on it and without putting shoulds, I was able to put in coulds instead and make all things possible. And my overwhelming gratitude for the light of the sun in the morning and the breathing of my dog beside me and the connection I feel when you talk about the air being that my mother and grandmother and great grandmother way back. It's just very over, and I felt disconnected from everything. And connection is the antidote. Connection is what I need, and I'm very grateful.
Wow. When I was able to get rid of the shoulds, I could replace them with coulds. I liked that a lot. Yeah. There's so much in the possibilities of existence when we aren't narrowed down to what we think we want. And
I think what really messes us up is the picture in our heads of what we think our life should be.
Yes.
And releasing that opens every door and every window and opens the heart.
Yes. Yes, the teachings in many cultures are about this, but the teachings specifically around suffering, it kind of comes down to suffering begins with the question, why me or why not me? It's either that I want anything but what it is, or I don't want what is at all. Whatever that's driving us to that place where we can't seem to see beyond what we think it should be. Because mostly our thoughts are conditioned by our experiences of pain. And we don't want pain. and so our thoughts are thinking about trying to get as far away from those uncomfortable moments as it can. But there's no good reason we have to believe every thought. Yeah. And when we can let go and see beyond that, this is where the teachings of the end of suffering begins in the suffering. Like, you have to be uncomfortable to be able to move through, to get comfortable. It's like breaking in. This whole life is breaking in a new shoe. And Ram Dass talked about death as taking off a tight shoe. He said, we're removing a tight shoe. It's like your soul just gets to, The
day my mother passed, they called to tell me she was having trouble breathing, and I got up and started putting on my pants to go see her. She was only 1.5 miles away. And by the time I had one leg in, they called back to tell me she had passed. And I went outside, and this was in the middle of winter. And I looked at heavens, and I felt so much grief, and I closed my eyes. And there was a worry surrounding me that I'd never heard anything like it. And when I opened my eyes, I was surrounded by a vortex of 10,000 dragonflies. And I thought I was hallucinating it until my neighbor said, "What the hell is that?" And then it disappeared. But I know she came to visit me. I know she came to see me. And I know she's still here. And I see her in every dragonfly that comes in summer. Because dragonflies don't fly in winter. And that started a connection to this world and to everything, and know that there is more. To know that there is more.
Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for your story of your mother. That's sharing. That is sharing love. And gratitude. This started with gratitude. I always appreciate that gratitude doesn't necessarily mean happy or that I like this, or gratitude is the awareness that there's no place else I'd rather be in this moment. Like being at a funeral. There surrounding our loved one who is no longer here in body. And I don't want to be there doing that, but I'm surrounded by so much love, so many people all coming together to hold one another, even if it's just two people holding that space, or even if it's just myself standing with a person and saying goodbye. It's not fun, but it's so deeply loving that gratitude just overwhelms. It's like, I feel so much joy to be in this moment.
I can be grateful for grief, because without the love and the joy that there was, there would not be the grief that there is.
Yeah.
So it connects me to that forever.
Yeah, grief is an amazing thing that we have. It's an amazing thing. And just like this practice, it is enriched sharing it with others. So, gratitude to you for coming today. Make refuge in the Buddha, refuge in the Sangha, and refuge in the Dharma. Thanks everybody for joining us through Substack or wherever you're joining this practice today. And we'll see you on Monday. Hari Om.